There are times that mark us forever. Mine turned 25 on the day my sister won the keys of a 0-kilometer BMW, while I received a cheap vial of those who burning in the eye and cost less than a decent lunch. At the same time, I got up from the table and left the restaurant without looking back. A year later, my parents asked me to pay the late installments of the house mortgage that, on the will, already had a owner, my twin sister. But let's go to parts, because this story deserves to be told calmly. My name is Anastasia, but who really knows me calls Nastia. I have a sister, Alexandra, or just Sasha, my other genetics half, but only in that we are the same. We just turned 25, when we should have already learned to deal with the injustices of life, but some hurt too much to be ignored. While I battle as a sales manager at an ordinary company, those endless days of cold calls, Excel spreadsheets, and never-ending Sasha paraded for TSUM, the luxury temple in Moscow, selling bags that cost more than the annual salary of many people. She serves clients that pay 300,000 rubles for an unloved accessory, as if it were a bakery change. Our parents, owners of a small construction company and a door factory, live on the renovation of mansions around the city. My father commands the works and negotiates with clients, my mother takes care of the accounts. Married almost 30 years ago, they built a modest empire, but enough to choose which daughter deserved the most. And then our 25th birthday arrived. A milestone. A quarter of century. To celebrate, my parents reserved a chic restaurant at Nikitskaya. I had dressed my best beige dress, bought in your months promoting months before. Sasha appeared in a brand look, one that cost more than my monthly rent, and I didn't even have to ask the value to know it was absurd. She has always been the pattern of perfection in the family. I got used to being the shadow. Dinner was doing well. The food was impeccable, the laughs echoed, and even me, for a moment, allowed myself to relax. My grandmother, the only person in the family who always treated us equally, told stories of our childhood, while my parents smiled, proud, asking questions about our plans. Until the time has come. My mother got up with an enigmatic smile and announced, "Girls, this year we prepared something special for you." It extended 2 identical boxes, the same size, with the same loop. My heart fired. Had they for the first time they thought of both of us the same way? "Open together," ordered my father. Sasha tore the paper with the usual excitement. A sharp scream. "My God, are the keys of a car. Did you give me a car?" She raised the BMW keychain, bright, new, expensive. I opened my box with trembling hands. Inside, a tiny vial of perfume, one that sells 3x2 on fixed price. The smell assaulted me on time, a chemical mixture of synthetic flowers that burned the throat. I was paralyzed, held that ridiculous object as everyone applauded Sasha, who jumped with joy as if he had won the lottery. No one noticed the difference. Neither Uncle Misha, nor Aunt Svetlana, nor even Cousin Genya, who usually notice everything. "Where's the car? I want to see," shouted Sasha, and my mother, radiant, replied, "It's out, honey. They stopped at the entrance for you to admire." My sister ran out, cell phone in hand, already preparing for the photos she would post on social networks in seconds. I remained sitting with that 300-ruble perfume in my hands, trying to understand how at the age of 25, my parents had just gifted my sister with a car of millions and me with a bottle of colorful alcohol. I put the perfume back in the box, closed the lid tightly and got up. "Where are you going, Nastia?" "I'm my grandmother, the only one who noticed my departure." "I need to take an air," I muttered, already walking to the door. Before I left, I heard my grandmother tell my parents, "This is not fair. The two deserved the same." "We didn't do anything wrong," said my father. "Nastia has a common job, while Sasha works in a place of prestige. She needs to maintain appearances." "Even so, it's not right," insisted my grandmother, now low. But I was far away. In the parking lot, I sat in my used car, a model that has seen better days, and I took a deep breath for a few minutes. The hands were still shaking. Throughout the way to my tiny apartment in a distant neighborhood, I checked the cell phone obsessively, hoping anyone, called to ask why I had left my own birthday. No one called. Neither my mother nor my father nor Sasha, who was probably still posing by the new car. It was as if I was disappeared, and no one noted my absence. That night, lying in bed, I began to revisit every moment this had already happened. It was not the first time. It was a constant. I convinced myself that things were not so bad, that I was exaggerating. But the memories came back as knives, the birthday cakes with the name of Sasha only, because they didn't fit both, the equal gifts they were never for her, a collector doll, for me, a cheap imitation purchased on the market. 7 years ago, I entered the university in a paid course, working in a bookstore and the college canteen to pay the monthly fees and the Republic. I had dinner instant noodles almost every day and bought used books at Avito. Sasha did not pass the entrance exam, but my parents, without hesitation, paid their private course, the accommodation, and even allowance. She did no strength. 3 years ago, I moved to a rented apartment, 50,000 rubles per month, not counting the bills. I pay all alone: supermarket, car insurance, unforeseen events. My sister also lives alone, but it's my parents who pay their rent, 60,000 per month, more new furniture and extra money for small spending. But those BMW keys versus a street vendor perfume went to the water drop. It was not about strengthening my character or love in different doses. They simply believed Sasha was worth more. That her success, her happiness, her life mattered more than mine. It's spent a month since our birthday, and no one in the family has contacted. No message, no connection, no sign that I existed. He checked his cell phone hundreds of times a day, afraid of losing something. But there was nothing. My days were going to go to work, go home, watch series at Kinopoisk, and try not to think about the fact that my family had erased me like I had never been part of it. I repeated myself that it was better without that drama, that I didn't need them. But it hurt. It hurt too much. Until, one day, the phone rang. It was Sasha. I almost hung up, but curiosity said louder. "Hi, Nastya," she said, with suspicious joy. "You won't believe it. My parents rented a new apartment for me. An amazing coverage at Petrovka, right in the center, with huge windows and close to everything that is cool." Of course they rented, I thought, bitter. "How cool," I said, "Dries. Look, I need help over the weekend to move. You come? I have to pack some things. Take it there." I wiped the phone out of the ear and stared at the screen incredulously. After a month of absolute silence, she called no to apologize, not to know how I was, but so that I was her boxes. "I can't," I cut. "I have other plans." And for the first time in life, it was true. "What commitments?" Her voice cut the air like a blade. As if nothing could be more urgent than carry the whim of her sister. "Personal commitments, Sasha. Private. Tiachi." Silence across the line lasted half a second before exploding. "Are you kidding? Family comes first. You are required to cancel everything and help me. That's how it works between sisters." I recognized that tone immediately, the same as I used it since I was a child, when I wanted something and knew that in the end I could. This time, however, my answer came out firm, almost strange in his tranquility: "I won't." And I hung up before she could vomit one more word. My hands trembled slightly. I had never said no to Sasha. Never. Years on the way I dropped everything: shifts, dreams, economies, whenever she snaps her fingers. But this time, for the first time, I chose to refuse. An hour later, the phone vibrated again. This time, it was my mother's voice, already loaded with disappointment even before the first hello. "Anastasia, how absurd is this? Your sister called crying, saying that you refused to help you change. What is happening to you?" Direct to the point, as always. Without even a "hi, daughter." I said I'm busy. "With what?" The tone was cold, almost accusatory. "She's her sister, Anastasia. You need help. Now have a car, but so? Hiring porters costs money, and her friends work on weekends. So what ask you for help? Or pay for the porters?" The following break was so dense that you can cut with a knife. Then her voice was affiliated as broken glass. "I don't understand this attitude, daughter. You should be ashamed. Your sister fights so much in that boutique, and you enviously turns our backs on the family. Your father and I killed us to work to give you both, and that's how they return us." It was not envy. It was exhaustion. I'm not jealous, Mother. I just got tired of this circus. I got tired of pretending that there is no favorite daughter in this family. I got tired of playing the luxuries of those who already have everything, while I pay the bill alone. Anastasia Sergeyevna, you are acting like a child. And you're pretending not to know that Sasha spends her own salary on expensive dinners and designer clothes, while I have paid her light bills for years. The silence was now of another kind, that of guilt being exposed to light. When she finally spoke, each syllable was a dart. I think you need to rethink their priorities. Family helps yourself. Yes. Family helps yourself. It's not just a way. And I hung up. The following days were a flood of messages and calls. My father left voice messages on WhatsApp calling me family shame. My mother sent miles on Telegram about how I was an ungrateful, selfish daughter. Sasha bombed my VK with furious audios, calling me horrible, petty, envious sister. I ignored everything. A week later, the silence returned. And for the first time, he was good. Better than shouts, better than guilt, better than the eternal feeling I owed them something. In those months of still, I did something I had never achieved. I saved money. I disabled the automatic debts that paid Sasha's bills. I opened a separate account and started depositing, even if it was only 7,000 per month. It looked little, but it was mine. Before, each reel that gained evaporating in her hands, 3 years paying light, internet, loans that never returned. Sasha spent her salary on lunch at chic restaurants, because she needed to keep the image at work, in bags, shoes, last collection coats. And when the money was over, I called weeping, Nastia, you can lend me 3,000? I return next week. Or, I got without food, send 5,000 to make market, please. The next week never arrived. The return was a myth. But now, without her sucking my budget, I first saw what was left when I stopped financing the whims of others. Until December, there was 80,000 in savings. It was not a fortune, but it was mine, every penny earned from my sweat, saved without asking permission, without justification. Without apologizing. The feeling was new. Liberating. The familiar silence lasted the whole fall. In October, I wished my father happy birthday. No answer. In November, I sent a message to my mother for their wedding anniversary. Nothing. 20-5 years of parties, laughs, family photos. And suddenly, I had ceased to exist. Christmas was approaching, and for the first time I prepared to pass it alone. Until my grandmother's voice broke the ice. Nastenka, dear, this year's New Year's Eve will be here at home. It would be so happy if you came. Relief invaded me like a wave. Someone still remembered me. On the morning of the 31st, I woke up early and prepared the chocolate cookies with nuts that my grandmother taught me at 12, wrapped them in a beautiful box and went to her. The room was full: Uncle Misha with his wife and children, Aunt Svetlana with the new boyfriend, my cousin Genya showing photos of the trip to Sochi. It was hot, it was noisy, it was family. As I helped my grandmother in the kitchen, I heard the front door open. Happy New Year to all. My mother's voice. My heart sank. I left slowly. My parents came in, carrying bottles of Georgian wine, a box of a face of expensive. And Sasha, of course, with a new coat, probably from the latest 12 Stories collection, paid I don't know what sorry this time. My mother saw me and froze. My father followed his gaze, and his face close like a door knocking. He came straight to me, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. Well, who decided to guys? I didn't abandon anyone, I said low. No. Because for me, you turned your back on the family in the second you have denied us help. Your mother is right. You are selfish and cruel. My mother joined him, the calculated tone to cause maximum embarrassment. Your father is right, Anastasia. That's why we made a decision. She took a dramatic break, looking around to make sure everyone paid attention. We refers the will. Everything, the house, the economies, now is from Sasha. She is the daughter who really cares about this family. The blow hurt, but strangely it didn't surprise me. It was their logic. It's your right, I said. My father clearly awaited tears. Please. When they didn't come, your frustration overflowed. Is this? There's nothing more to say. What do you want to hear? They made your choice. Sasha has always been the favorite. Now it's official. We don't have preferred. My mother protested, but her voice sounded empty. Of course not, I muttered. Sasha finally opened her mouth, the tone full of disdain. If it weren't for your eternal envy, things would be different. I looked at her there, with that expensive coat, the BMW keys in hand, talking about envy. The irony was so thick that I almost laughed. I'm not jealous, Sasha. I just stopped pretending to be a normal family. You are unbearable. My father roared. Come on, girls. We don't need scenes. And so they left. My mother took the cake, my father the wine, and Sasha simply followed, as always, in the center of everything. But this time, I stayed. The door closed behind them with a dry click. The whole visit did not last more than 10 minutes. When the silence reigned in the room again, Uncle Misha let out a low blow. That was heavy. Grandma wasted no time. She pulled me to a tight hug, her lavender perfume involving me like a shield. Forgiveness, my dear, because you heard it all. I just shook my head, smiling in the corner. Okay, Grandma. I'm used to it. The rest of New Year's night surprised. Relatives, as the embarrassment offset, dragged me into conversations. Aunt Svita's boyfriend told jokes that made her grandfather laugh. Genia and I talked about work, about their bags already ready for Thailand. So it should be a family Christmas. Without dramaturgy, without the feeling that you are the guest. Ada in the blood itself. The months passed. I followed my routine, work, economies, the stillness of my new life. Sometimes Grandma updated me about them as if talking about characters from a soap opera I had stopped watching. Your mother called again, asking if you couldn't. I cut with a smile. Say I'm busy. Until, a week before my 26th birthday, the phone vibrated at the kitchen counter. Known number. I almost hung up. But something, perhaps morbidness, perhaps the shadow of a hope that I had not yet buried, made my finger slide to meet. Anastasia. My mother's voice sounded strange. There was no usual authority, nor that condescending tone that made me feel small. Only an almost imperceptible tremor. We need to talk. Can you come here? It's important. What? I asked, already knowing I didn't want to know. Tomorrow. Please. The despair in his voice was new. Intriguing. Or maybe only pathetic. Against all the instinct, I agreed. The gate range is the same, but the house seemed smaller. The garden, once impeccable, now displayed grown bush between cement cracks. My father opened the door. The whiter hair, the deep dark circles. Thanks for coming, he said. For the first time in his life, he thanked me for something. The absurdity of the situation almost made me laugh. We sat in the living room, that room, where I had spent years trying to deserve a compliment, a look that was not a disapproval. Now the place smelled the mold and defeat. My father began, his fingers cheering a napkin. Anastasia, times are difficult. The construction has stopped. No contracts, no money. The materials rose, the firm is sinking. My mother interrupted, her handy hands. We may lose the house. The mortgage is late. The bench threatens auction. I waited. I knew it was just the preamble. We need your help, my father spit, as if the words burned. Only until the situation gets better. I let out a dry laugh. Do you want me to pay the mortgage from a house that is already promised to Sasha? It's not about it. My mother protested, too fast. It's for the family. Not to be on the street. And Sasha? I asked, sweet. Have you asked her? After all, she has always been the priority. My mother looked down. She is having difficulties too. Her salary barely covers the apartment's expenses, and wedding. Ah, yes. The wedding. My father completed, as if it explained everything. Restaurant reserved for 50 people. She's so happy. Of course it is, I thought. While you both drag themselves here, asking for alms to the daughter who always treated like garbage. I won't pay for a house that will never be mine, he said, getting up. If you need money, ask your favorite daughter. My mother cried. They were not silent tears, but tall, dramatic sobs, the same theater I saw so many times as a child when she pretended to worry as she signed checks for Sasha's whims. Let's lose everything, Anastasia. We'll be on the street. I looked at her, really looked, for the first time in years. I also cried a lot because of you. But my tears never mattered. Now, you're yours either. I took my bag. At the door, I turned one last time. Ask Sasha. After all, the will is already done. Now I have someone who really wants to be by my side. Someone who doesn't know my family, and I'm not sure if you will know one day. Sometimes I wonder, what if I had given up? If you had paid their mortgage, followed by playing the whims of Sasha, continued to play the role of her grateful daughter, it would probably be broken, alone and, worse, with an even smaller self-esteem than they have tried to steal me. Today, when I look behind that birthday dinner, I see it was the best gift they gave me. Not the cheap discount store perfumes, but brutal clarity. That moment when the mask CA.IU once and for all, so obvious, so cruel, that there was no way to pretend. It took me 20-5 to understand that I deserve more than to be someone's plan B. But, as they say, more late than ever. Now I sleep in peace. I pay my accounts. I make my own decisions. And surrounds me with people who see me, who choose me not for convenience, but because they really want to have me around. It is too good to be described. If one day they learn to treat me as a person, not as an empty space to be filled when it suits them, who knows? But I'm not waiting. Life is short to waste time with those who only know how to take.